I get the kind of sense that, Isaiah is still bitter about not making the dream team to this very, very day. And I'm very, very glad that this documentary is showing his bitter feelings against Michael Jordan and all those members of the dream team. And the last maybe two of the three episodes, I should say two of the six, maybe the three, I don't know. But I'm glad that these episodes are basically exposing Isaiah Thomas for what he truly is. He's just nothing more than a snake in the grass that basically got exposed of his bitterness and his jealousy against Michael Jordan. And when I was watching episode 5, which was explaining about the Dream Team, um, Isaiah still doesn't understand. He still doesn't get why he wasn't selected to play on the Dream Team. Now, obviously, his accomplishment and what is he able to do throughout his career certainly nominates himself being worthy on the Dream Team. I'm not disputing that at all. But when you got star players that literally hate your guts, that look at you as a nothing more than a snake and a con man, bro, how could you not recognize that the person that got yourself out the dream team was yourself? It wasn't Michael Jordan at all. Michael flat out said that he respects Isaiah Thomas as a basketball player, even beyond his animosity against him. Okay. He said that he's the second best point guard in the game behind Magic Johnson, of course. All right. And listen, Isaiah really comes across as a piece of shit. He really does. Because he still doesn't understand. He can't, come to grips with the fact that, why he's been kind of excommunicated or maybe just out of the rid of the circles among NBA greats. All right. Now listen, Isaiah Thomas is one of the greatest point guards, one of the great competitors in NBA history. Nobody is dismissing that at all. I'm not. Because if I said that he's overrated, I would be lying to myself, and obviously everybody in the comment section would rip me a new one. But the truth of the matter is this: the reason why Isaiah was not nominated to play on the Dream Team is because of his reputation as a basketball player and was the captain of the Bad Boys team that played the most physical style of basketball known to man. Now, it would have been different if they were playing physical ball and it was basically clean basketball. But what these guys did during that period to the Celtics, the Lakers, the Bulls, okay, and to pretty much all the other teams in the NBA, they crossed the line, undercutting people in the air, clotheslining people, illegal screens, elbows, okay, always starting fights, all right. Listen, Isaiah is the ringleader of the Bad Boy Pistons, and Bill Laimbeer was basically the bodyguard that did the commands of the captain, and that was Isaiah. Everybody knew that Bill Laimbeer does not do any of those illegal, dirty tactics without the approval of Isiah Thomas. Everybody knows this. All right. Why do you think that Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Scottie Pippen had major issues with them? To this day, they don't even talk about them as much. Now, Scottie Pippen despises Isiah Thomas. He despises him deathly. Okay. And I don't blame him for it at all. You saw a lot of the illegal things they did to Pippen during his early days of his career. Always undercutting him in midair, always trying to tackle him to the ground when they were trying to take for charges. All right. It was beyond dirty. And I still don't blame Pippen for holding that kind of animosity against him. And to top it all that, when NBA TV did their one episode of Open Court, I forgot what episode it was. They all talked about this very same issue. And, Isaiah basically tried to laugh it off. He said, listen, I don't mind about Michael not saying he wouldn't want to play with me, Bird or Magic saying he want to play with me. But for Scottie Pippen to say that, yeah, get out of here, go to the pack somewhere. Like, see, Isaiah comes across as really as a scumbag when he keeps talking about this a lot. And I'm very, very happy that that most of these episodes are basically proving why Isiah Thomas is basically a person that, for all the truth that he tells, comes across as full of crap. That's who he is. Okay. And the other issue about with Larry Bird too, we cannot forget this. Okay, Larry Bird had issues with the Pistons way beyond before 1987. All right, particularly it was Bird versus Bill Laimbeer. Okay, because Laimbeer would try to hit Bird with elbows. All right, and Bird would always give it back to him. All right, legal screens, always trying to grapple with Larry Bird every time he gets into the paint to come off screens. I mean, if you just watch the tapes, you know some of the dirty stuff Bill Laimbeer did to Larry Bird, which culminated in 1987 in Game 3 of that Eastern Conference Final when Bird was in the left block being defended, I should say on the right block, being defended by Dennis Rodman, okay? Pump faked in the air, and Bill Laimbeer was basically in the air, and he just didn't even try to attempt to block a shot. He proceeded to basically body slam and tackled Larry Bird to the ground, which infuriated him. Which infuriated him to the point where he basically punched him while they were both on the ground. I'm talking about Bird here, okay? Then when they broke up the scrum, all right, Larry Bird proceeds to take the basketball and throw it at Bill Laimbeer. All right, this hatred was real, and again, all these things come across from the ringleader of Isiah Thomas, who endorsed and promoted that kind of physicality. All right, and after that '87 series concluded, when the Celtics beat the Pistons in 7 games, don't forget. And when the game was over, Dennis Rodman made some derogatory comments about Larry Bird, talking about how if Larry Bird was just another black player, he wouldn't be revered around the league. Basically, I'm just kind of paraphrasing. And then the reporters took the quote of what Dennis Rodman said, and they asked Isiah Thomas about what Dennis Rodman said, and he said, "Do you agree with him?" And he said, and Magic said this, and I'm going to try to paraphrase the quote as best I can. He said, "Larry Bird is a exceptional talent and a great basketball player. But I have to agree with Rodman. If he was black, he would just be another good guy." Once Isiah made that quote, everybody took the quote and just ran with it. Because Larry Bird was the face of the league during that period. He's already won 3 MVPs. He's already won three NBA championships. All right. Him and Magic Johnson were the faces of the league during that time. All right. And Bird originally, during that HBO documentary, okay, Larry Bird in that HBO documentary said that he didn't care about the comments at all. He just said so, but the people around him did. You best believe the Celtics organization took offense to those comments. You bet the NBA did, and you bet most of Boston did, and most of America did. All right, and this was all a culminating storm that built a very bad case against the Pistons, but particularly against Isiah Thomas. All right. Now, the stuff of Michael Jordan, it's already been self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go too much in depth with that. But I want to get into the Magic Johnson stuff. Okay. Remember, Magic Johnson and Isiah Thomas are great friends. All right. They were really great friends when they both came into the league. And Isiah even admitted that he looked up to Magic Johnson as a mentor when he was coming up in the league. Okay. But when Magic Johnson announced his early retirement due to his HIV illness, all right, I don't know what specific time it was. It was midway through 1992. There were perceived rumors that Isiah Thomas was spreading around, questioning Magic Johnson's sexuality. All right, because remember, during that period, people had this perception about HIV that if you're homosexual, that you would get this HIV virus, and reporters had even talked about it too. Jackie McMullen wrote a book about it. All right, that it was Isiah Thomas who basically was spreading the rumors about about Magic Johnson's sexuality. Okay, and because of those rumors and because of the bad case against him, okay, there were 3 guys on that dream team that did not want to play with Isiah Thomas because they knew that if Isiah was on the team, the camaraderie and the chemistry of that team was all going to be screwed up because Isiah Thomas comes across as a very negative person that would throw a little barbs here and there towards the players, and a lot of the players would take offense to what Isiah would say. All right? Why do you think these guys did not want to play with Isiah Thomas? It's not because of politics, bro. It's because of the fact of your reputation. It's because of Isaiah's reputation and what he did during the time when the Pistons was trying to come up. Because remember, Isaiah even said this in 1998 that listen, we were trying to beat the Celtics at that time. We were doing everything we can. And another thing though too about the Celtics thing that I also forgot to include during that '87 conference final. All right, Bill Laimbeer was stepping on Kevin McHale's foot because remember, Kevin McHale had broke his foot almost 2 months away from the playoffs. It was a broken bone in his foot that got increasingly bigger as he kept playing basketball. And every time he was on the block, I'm talking McHale, of course, being guarded by either Bill Laimbeer or Rick Mahorn, but particularly Bill Laimbeer. Laimbeer would step on his foot every time to try to get him off the block or try to make him think about it. I mean, that's just beyond dirty. Trying to stomp on somebody's foot to make the broken foot even worse. I mean, come on, bro. That's beyond dirty. All right. You hear these stories. It really paints a bad light about Isiah Thomas as it's not really good. All right. Everywhere Isaiah's been, whether it's been an executive or when he was the president of the CBA, how he's led that into bankruptcy. All right. How poorly he did in Indiana as a head coach. The poor job he did as an executive for the New York Knicks for all these years. And a sexual assault case and a sexual harassment lawsuit on top of that. You hear all these stories. It really paints a bad picture about Isiah Thomas. It's not really good. All right. And basically leading up to 1992 here, okay? Isiah Thomas knows in his heart of hearts why he was not on the Dream Team. He knows this. All right. He built a bad reputation for himself on and off the court to where all the stars in the league were not going to put up with his BS. This was basically their get back to say, okay, you endorse all that illegal tactics and dirty play onto us. Now we're going to do something dirty to you. We're not going to let you play on the Dream Team. Now, I know this is one person going to basically going to say, well, two wrongs don't make it right, Abil. You can't really say that. Well, you're right about it. But again, when you have Magic, Bird, Jordan, Pippen, you got 4-star players on the Dream Team that all pretty much been basically in alliance with each other to basically say we don't want this guy on our team. And you got your own coach, Chuck Daly, coaching the team, and all 4 of those star players did not want to play with Isiah Thomas. I mean, what were they supposed to, what was the U.S. committee supposed to do? Ignore them and still put Isiah Thomas on the team? Man, it would have been a huge storm. It would have been a huge mess for them to deal with. And that's why they could not risk putting him on the Dream Team. All right? And the Dream Team, without a doubt, is the greatest talent ever assembled. And if Isiah didn't have the reputation that he obtained throughout his basketball career, there's no doubt he gets in the Dream Team over John Stockton. No doubt in my mind. But I told you before, Isiah Thomas knows exactly why he was not on the Dream Team. He knows in his heart of hearts. And at the end of the day, he can be bitter about it. He can try to pretend like he doesn't know why he wasn't on the Dream Team because he met all the criteria. Yes, he met the entire criteria. He belongs on the Dream Team without a doubt. But I'm going to keep telling you this over and over again. Isiah Thomas built a negative reputation as the captain of the Bad Boy Pistons. And he put the signature on the bad reputation when he decided to walk off the court in the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals instead of going to the Bulls and just giving them their sportsmanship, shake hands, and basically say, good luck to you guys in the NBA Finals. That's all he could have done. All that negativity could have been blown out of the water if he would have shaken the Bulls' hands. But even maybe that was not enough. Maybe that wasn't enough. But for them to walk off the court like that after the entire reputation that they built over themselves over that period of time, Isiah knows in his heart of hearts why he was not on the Dream Team. And again, I'm going to keep telling you this over and over again. For all the truths that Isiah Thomas tells, all right, about basketball or things of that sort, but for a lot of things he'll tell you, Isiah Thomas most times comes across as a piece of crap. And I'm very glad that this documentary is basically proving my point of the whole perception of Isiah Thomas. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. All right. Y'all take care now. Peace.